Let me take you back to a hall in Chicago. The year is 1893. The world is divided by race, religion, and region. But something unforgettable is about to happen. A monk in saffron robes, standing tall with calm fire in his eyes, walks up to the podium. The audience waits. Some are curious, some skeptical. And then, with a voice that thundered across oceans and still echoes in hearts today, he begins. Sisters and brothers of America, 5 words. But they were not just a greeting, they were a revolution. No speaker at the Parliament had addressed the crowd that way. They had said, ladies and gentlemen, honored guests, fellow delegates. But this Indian monk, he saw them not as strangers, but as siblings, sisters and brothers of America. That single sentence awakened something deep in the human spirit, and history records that the crowd rose in thunderous applause, not for a speech, but for the spirit behind it. This was no ordinary monk. This was Swami Vivekananda, the voice of Vedanta, the roaring lion of India, who came not to impress, but to unite. So if you are watching this today sitting in your room wondering about your purpose, your place, your identity, know this. You too are part of that same family. The spiritual family he spoke of. The global brotherhood and sisterhood that goes beyond borders, skin color, and beliefs. It fills my heart with joy unspeakable to rise in response to the warm and cordial welcome which you have given us. Swamiji felt joy, not pride, not arrogance, but joy that was beyond words. He wasn't there to win an argument, he was there to build a bridge. Even in the face of racial prejudice, colonial mindset, and deep misunderstanding of India and Hinduism, he chose gratitude. This is your first real-life application. Gratitude disarms resistance. Humility builds bridges. So if you want to lead today, in business, in life, or even on social media, don't start with ego. Start with joy unspeakable. Start with connection. I thank you in the name of the most ancient order of monks in the world. He wasn't just a monk. He was part of a tradition older than most civilizations. The Dashanami order of monks started by Adi Shankaracharya. These were not men running from the world. They were seers, warriors of the spirit, wandering the land not to preach but to realize the self. Swami Vivekananda represented that sacred lineage, and he bowed in humility to the West, not as a beggar, but as a bearer of eternal wisdom. To you, the modern youth, know your lineage. You are not a floating identity. You come from a civilization of consciousness. I thank you in the name of the mother of religions. He called India the mother of religions, and rightly so. The Vedas are the oldest spiritual scriptures still in use. Yoga, meditation, karma, dharma, these weren't buzzwords. They were India's gifts to the world. So he stood there, not with a sword, not with a sermon, but with truth born of experience. He didn't need to attack anyone else's faith, because true spirituality doesn't compete, it completes. Imagine if our world adopted this attitude. I don't need to convert you. I see the divine in you. This one thought can end wars. This one thought can change education, politics, and religion. I thank you in the name of millions and millions of Hindu people of all classes and sects. In that moment, he wasn't speaking for himself. He was carrying the voice of a billion dreams across caste, creed, and communities. And here's the beauty. In a time when the West saw Hinduism as primitive or polytheistic, he made the world listen and rethink. He showed that Hinduism isn't about idol worship or blind rituals, it's about seeing God in all, including in yourself. Young friends, your culture is not your limitation. It's your launch pad. Don't dilute your roots. Deepen them. My thanks also to some of the speakers on this platform who have told you that these men from far-off nations may well claim the honor of bearing to different lands the idea of toleration. Swamiji acknowledged others with grace. Even those who had misunderstood the East. He didn't burn bridges. He rebuilt them. He showed the West that India had taught tolerance and universal acceptance, not just in books, but in real life, for thousands of years. This is your lesson. Be bold in truth, but never bitter in tone. In a world full of cancel culture and shouting matches, stand for something bigger than just being right. Stand for harmony. I am proud to belong to a religion which has taught the world both tolerance and universal acceptance. Not just tolerance, universal acceptance. Swami Vivekananda didn't say we tolerate other religions. He said we accept them. We see their truth. We honor their path. There's a big difference. Tolerance says, I'll put up with you. Acceptance says, I see God in you. What if schools taught that? What if our politics was based on that? That's the kind of future you can build if you live from that place. We believe not only in universal toleration, but we accept all religions as true. Pause. That's huge. Can you imagine a world where every faith said that? Hinduism doesn't claim monopoly over truth. It says, many paths, one truth, many rivers, one sea. This is why Vivekananda's message was revolutionary, not because it was new, but because it was eternal. I am proud to belong to a nation which has sheltered the persecuted and the refugees of all religions and all nations of the earth. Here, Swami Vivekananda reminded the world of a forgotten India. Not the colonized India, not the stereotyped India, but the spiritual sanctuary of the world. He spoke of India as a safe haven, where Zoroastrians, Jews, Christians, and others had found refuge when the world rejected them. Long before human rights became a global movement, India was living it. Vivekananda didn't boast, he reflected. He wasn't just defending Hinduism, he was uplifting humanity. And the message to you? Build a life that includes, not excludes. Build a heart that welcomes, not walls. I am proud to tell you that we have gathered in our bosom the purest remnant of the Israelites. He speaks here of the Jewish community that fled Roman persecution and came to Kerala, in South India, over 2,000 years ago. They were not just tolerated, they were embraced. No forced conversions, no discrimination, no violence. Imagine a world like that today, where identity is respected and diversity is honored, not feared. Vivekananda wasn't just speaking about the past, he was presenting a blueprint for the future. I am proud to belong to the religion which has sheltered and is still fostering the remnant of the grand Zoroastrian nation. This line honors the Parsis, followers of Zoroaster, who fled Persia after Islamic conquests. They arrived in India and were welcomed. No one told them to abandon their faith. They were free to live, work, and worship in peace. This was India. This was Dharma in action. Today, we argue about tolerance, but Vivekananda pointed to something deeper: spiritual compassion. Lesson? Spirituality is not what you say, it's how you live with others. I will quote to you, brethren, a few lines from a hymn. This was his moment to share a Vedic truth, not as doctrine, but as a poetic realization. As the different streams having their sources in different places, all mingle their water in the sea, so, O Lord, the different paths which men take through different tendencies, various though they appear, crooked or straight, all lead to thee. What a powerful metaphor. Different rivers, one ocean, Christianity, Islam, Buddhism, Judaism, Jainism, Sikhism, Hinduism, all flowing toward the same divine source. And isn't that what we need today? More bridges, fewer borders. If you're spiritual but feel confused in a world of labels, let this truth liberate you. All sincere paths lead to God. The outer form may differ, the essence is the same. The present convention is in itself a vindication. Here he applauds the Parliament of Religions, the very event where he spoke. He calls it one of the most august assemblies, not because of fame or power, but because it honored spiritual diversity. It was the first time in history that leaders from every major world religion sat together in mutual respect. And Swami Vivekananda knew this was not a small thing. It was proof that humanity can rise above dogma, above conflict, above division. To you watching this video, you're part of that mission now. Be the one who listens. Be the one who seeks truth, not dominance, of the wonderful doctrine preached in the Gita. He now quotes the Bhagavad Gita, the sacred dialogue between Krishna and Arjuna. Whosoever comes to me through whatsoever form I reach him. All men are struggling through paths which in the end lead to me. What a beautiful expansive truth. Krishna says no matter what path you walk, if you seek truth with love, I will meet you there. This is the essence of Vedanta. No chosen people, no exclusive heaven, just infinite love in infinite forms. Sectarianism, bigotry and its horrible descendant, fanaticism. Now his tone changes. It becomes serious, urgent, prophetic. He calls out the real evil that haunts humanity, not poverty, not technology, but fanaticism. He says it has long possessed this beautiful earth. And isn't that still true? Fanaticism today wears many masks: religion, politics, even ideology. It divides, it destroys, it blinds. Swamiji called it out over 130 years ago. And he said, "Enough. They have filled the earth with violence, drenched it often with human blood." He doesn't sugarcoat. He speaks like a prophet. This is a spiritual warning. When we forget the divine unity behind all beings, we fall into violence, hatred, war. History proves it, and today's headlines confirm it. So what's the antidote? Real spirituality. Not just ritual, not just belief, but awakening. Had it not been for these horrible demons, human society would be far more advanced than it is now. Pause. Swamiji is saying that the biggest barrier to progress is not ignorance or poverty, it's intolerance. The mind that says, "Only my way is right." That mind blocks evolution. So if you want to grow, if you want to build a better world, don't just chase degrees, free your heart from hatred. That's real advancement. But their time has come. And now hope. Like a sunrise after the storm, Vivekananda believed the time had come to end fanaticism. That the sound of that bell, the one that marked the beginning of the parliament, should also mark the end of division. Can we hear that bell today? Not a literal bell, but the bell inside you. The call to awaken, to rise above hate, to serve humanity as one. May be the death knell of all fanaticism. That was his prayer, that from this speech, from this gathering, the old energies of hatred would die, and in their place, new energies would rise. Compassion, courage, consciousness. And today, you are part of that prophecy. You watching this in 2025 are the living extension of that same voice. So the question is not whether Vivekananda's speech is still relevant. The question is, will we live it? We've walked through every word of Swami Vivekananda's legendary speech. We've seen the humility, the vision, the boldness, and the timeless relevance. But let us now bring it home. Let us ask, what does this mean for us, for you, sitting with a phone in your hand, a world of chaos in your feed, and questions in your heart? Let's take the final steps of this journey. Together. Of all persecutions with the sword or with the pen. Here, Swami Vivekananda warns not only about violence in the streets but violence in words. A sword can cut flesh, but a word can kill hope. And haven't we all seen it? Online bullying, religious trolling, arguments where no one listens, only waits to attack. Swamiji says, that too is fanaticism, because if your pen or your keyboard is used to judge, condemn, or divide, then you're not serving truth. You're feeding the ego. So my friend, before you type, pause. Before you react, reflect. Let your words be not just smart but sacred, and of all uncharitable feelings between persons wending their way to the same goal. This is the climax. Swami Vivekananda ends his speech with a truth that could heal humanity. No matter what path you're on, you're headed to the same divine. Some call it God, some call it Allah, some call it truth, some just call it peace, but the goal is the same. And if we really understood that, we wouldn't waste time fighting over forms. We'd focus on the essence. We'd walk together, not because we agree on every step, but because we trust that the destination unites us. This is the essence of Vedanta. This is the heart of all spiritual paths. Swami Vivekananda did not just give a speech that day. He planted a seed of unity, of spiritual courage, of love beyond labels. And today, you, yes you, are that seed's fruit. Because if you've listened this far, it means there's a spark in you, a hunger for truth, a desire to rise above fear and confusion and live with powerful purpose. Let's now ask, what does this speech mean today? Let's translate it into 5 calls to action. 1. Lead with brotherhood, not division. When he said sisters and brothers of America, he wasn't using poetic language. He was speaking from a place of spiritual unity. In your life, start doing the same. Whether it's your classmates, colleagues, or critics, look for the soul beneath the surface. Unity is not a political idea. It's a spiritual practice. 2. Be rooted, yet open. Swami Vivekananda stood tall, not ashamed of his robes, his accent, or his tradition. He honored his roots, but he wasn't closed. He was open to learning, to sharing, to evolving. In today's world, you don't have to choose between your culture and your future. You can be both deeply Indian and boldly global. You can blend ancient spirit with modern fire. Let your spirituality not divide, let it unite. 3. Reject fanaticism in all forms, not just in others, but in yourself. Whenever you find yourself saying, only my way is right, they're all wrong, they must be destroyed. Pause, that's not truth, that's ego in disguise. Vivekananda warned that fanaticism is the biggest enemy of human progress. And you, as a conscious youth, must be its cure. Be strong in truth, but gentle in approach. 4. Make your life a message. Swami Vivekananda didn't carry scriptures in his hand, he embodied them. His life was the teaching. He slept on floors, ate little, but his heart held the universe. If you want to honor him, don't just quote him. Live his message, serve others, meditate regularly, study deeply, speak kindly, walk with courage, be a walking Upanishad, a living Gita, a breathing Vedanta. 5. Awaken, arise, now. Swamiji's life was a living echo of the Gita verse. Arise, awake, and stop not till the goal is reached. That's not a motivational line, that's a spiritual war cry. He wasn't telling you to work harder for grades or hustle for money. He was saying, wake up to who you really are. Wake up to the Atman, the divine within, because when you awaken to that, you become fearless. And a fearless youth can change the world. Over a century has passed since that speech. The world has changed, technology has evolved, but the human heart still seeks the same things: peace, purpose, belonging, love. Swami Vivekananda's speech is not stuck in 1893. It lives, it breathes in you. So as we end this video, I invite you to do one thing. Listen again, but this time from your soul. Sisters and brothers of America, can you hear it? He's speaking to you. Not from the past, but from within you. Arise, awake, and stop not till your goal, your true self, is reached.